Today we're heading back into Paladins. That was available to the public already back in 2015 when I first tried it out. So it was basically available for the public a year after Overwatch that was released in 2014. But Paladins was released for real, if you will, the first time in 2016. A bit confusing, I know. Although Paladins had been in development for a longer period of time compared to Overwatch. So in a way we're looking into a kind of 10-year-old game, if you will. Well, the whole controversy regarding who was first and who copied who or whatnot, that is kind of old now and not really that relevant, I think, in 2025. Instead, I want to focus or talk about Paladins in general from the perspective of someone that has played the game back and forth over the years, but never really spent a huge amount of hours into the game. With that said, let's see if it's still worth it in 2025. When I say worth it, when it comes to these kind of videos, I mean play it, spend some time doing so, and maybe even some money put into the game. Yes, Paladins is free to play, but just because something is free doesn't mean that you have to play the game, since there might be other options out there that are more interesting for you when it comes to you investing time into video games. And since time has passed now, there's other competitors in the genre besides Overwatch, and I'm mainly thinking about a game such as Marvel Rivals that has been doing really well. So with that in mind, we'll also look into player count in order to see if there's still people playing Paladins, and maybe that also gives you an indication whether it's worth playing or not for you, since I do know that some players simply won't invest time or start playing a game or put money into the game for that sake if a game is going a bit too low for their taste when it comes to active players. It could be many reasons for not going into a game with a low player count, but I guess people think that the game isn't a big priority for a company either, such as Hi-Rez, since they're also putting resources, the company that is, in other titles they own as well. So the priority, well, that's an important thing as well when it comes to the business side of things. Yes, Paladins is a Hi-Rez Studios games and also Evil Mojo game, and it's available on PC and nowadays also directly through Steam, but it's also available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and it was also available on Nintendo Switch. But the Nintendo Switch version was shut down in 2023, I believe. For those of you that don't know what Paladins is, I can say that it's a 5v5 fantasy team-based shooter with over 50 customizable champions that are fighting across a very diverse realm of modes and maps. Meaning, if you played games such as Team Fortress 2 or an Overwatch, you should have quite some kind of know-how when it comes to how these style of games works and plays, and therefore also feel quite comfortable when playing Paladins for the first time. However, the big difference between games such as Paladins and Overwatch is the card system in Paladins. The Paladins cards offer the ability to empower champions' attributes and enhance or modify their skills, tailoring them to a particular playstyle of yours. Cards are equipped by champions 5 at a time in sets called loadouts, and players can increase or decrease the strength of the cards in their loadouts to one of the 5 ranks. However, loadouts have a fixed limit of 15 to the total card ranks. Does this sound confusing? Well, as with everything else, it does take some time when it comes to learning what cards that might be the best for you and your champion. But there's plenty of tutorials out there that can give a good basic introduction when it comes to the card system in Paladins. And if you simply don't care much about it and just want to play the game, get into the pew-pew action, then there's an auto-play or auto-buy function, I should say, that allows new players to have the game purchase cards for them. This feature can be toggled on and off within the item store menu or in the gameplay tab in the options menu. So we got the basics covered, but how about players that I talked about initially? Let's take a look into the Steam charts, although Paladins on PC can be played both through Steam and Epic Games, if I'm not wrong. As you may see, there's been around 1k average players a day the last 30 days on Steam playing Paladins, and a peak of around 1.9k players, peak players a day. It's quite a loss of players when we look and compare, like go back about 10 or 11 months, since it then was around 3.5k players average players daily in June last year, which is quite a difference fast forwarding up till today. The numbers is almost the same on Active Player IO, which is a bit strange maybe, since it's supposed to track all players in total across the platforms available. But then again, these kind of numbers are mostly references, although the Steam charts are updated live automatically gives us pretty accurate numbers. The bottom line is the player count has gone down quite some the last couple of years. But does that make the game less worth playing or not? Not for me, really, personally, but again, I'm not someone that has invested a huge amount of hours in the game or not any money either. So you guys feel free to fill in here what you think. I mean, it might be interesting to ask the question why Paladins have been losing players instead. So from my experience being someone that has both played and covered a lot of different games through the years, there's usually more than one reason that comes into play. First off, Paladins is considered now to be an old game per definition, and I've seen the same thing happening with a favorite of mine as well, which is another free-to-play shooter, although completely different compared to Paladins, and that is PlanetSide 2. So an aging game usually drops players over time, not all, but most games. And then we have the content issue, or maybe lack of content, meaning are there enough new content being added into the game to keep the core players busy, continuing to play and support the game. On top of that, there can also be technical shortcomings or issues that make some people stop playing a game. Things that have been there for a long time, or things that unfortunately happen later with recent updates and patches. But we should also remember competition. Although Overwatch 2 has been doing so-so, it's still a competitor to Paladins, and of course also a new partly similar game such as Marvel Rivals that has been doing really well. What do you think? Is there a combination of reasons why we're now seeing such a decline in player count when it comes to Paladins in 2025? Either way, being someone that, as said again, comes in and plays once in a while, and has appreciated this game for quite a few years. This game is still worth it for me, at least in 2025, when it comes to playing it on, as said, occasionally. Maybe not a game that I would invest a lot of money or time now, but that differs again what kind of player you are. Because some people like to grind one game and do it like 100%. I've been like that too. I played my Counter-Strike for years and all that stuff, and Halo back in the days. But now, also getting older, I tend to play a bit of different games, also different genres, and I kind of appreciate that variety. So yeah, Paladins for me can be that part in that variety, if that makes sense. But again, I also understand that some people are almost choking on games after playing them year after year, and also if they feel disappointed regarding updates or what the devs are doing with the actual game. So I kind of respect that too, and I've seen those kind of comments also when I've covered Paladins before. So again, let me know what you think. Are you someone that wants to play the game, try it out for the first time, or have you played it so much that you're just fed up with the experience? Let me know in the comments. With that said, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you're gonna have a great day, and if you're new when it comes to games such as Paladins, remember, it's free to play. Is it worth it? Well, for me, I think it's worth it, and I think it's worth trying. It won't cost you more than your time, which it's of course precious. My time is very precious nowadays, and that's why I said what I said initially in the video. I think even though something might be free, doesn't mean automatically you have to download it and play it. So take care now, friends. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon again in an upcoming video. Cheers, and later.
So long as the
Victory!
Embrace the darkness. Embrace the darkness.